Family, Elder O back with you once again. Breaking news, biblical prophecy is quickly unfolding. Those of us who have studied the word, we can clearly see that everything that is happening in the world is in total alignment of what is written of in the Father's word. We are truly in the last days. I have some important news articles that I would like to share with you all. Please pay attention. Crack open your scriptures, get out a pen and paper and take notes. Before we get into the news article, I would like to read a few passages of scripture with you. Isaiah 55 verse 11 says, "So shall my word be that go forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it." Everything that is taking place in this world that is happening and has happened and will happen is foretold in the scriptures. Isaiah or Yeshayahu 34 verse 16, "Seek ye out the book of Yahuwah and read. No one of these shall fail, none shall want her mate. For my mouth it hath commanded it, and his spirit it hath gathered." Isaiah chapter 30. Verse 20 and 21. "And though Yahuwah give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner any more, but thine eyes shall see thy teachers, and thine ears shall hear a word behind thee, saying, This is the way, walk ye in it, when ye turn to the right, and when ye turn to the left." Prophecy is quickly unfolding. Pay attention to this news, and I will be back with you momentarily. And for those of you respectfully who have a short attention span, if you don't watch the entirety of this lesson, you are doing your own selves and your family a great disservice. Pay attention. I'll be back with you momentarily.
And their proxies who have threatened to retaliate against you and your team by killing you guys for taking out Soleimani.
Well, they haven't done that, and that would be a terrible thing for them to do. Not because of me. If they did that, they would be obliterated. That would be the end. I've left instructions. If they do it, they get obliterated. There won't be anything left. And they shouldn't be able to do it. And
I say that you're unhappy to sign it if it's Iran and their proxies who have threatened to retaliate against you and your team by killing you guys for taking out Soleimani.
Well, they haven't done that, and that would be a terrible thing for them to do. Not because of me. If they did that, they would be obliterated. That would be the end. I've left instructions.
تحميل سلطات الاحتلال مسؤولية الجرائم المرتكبة بحق الشعب الفلسطيني ومقدراته، وإننا على يقين بأن السبيل الوحيد لتحقيق الأمن والسلام والاستقرار في المنطقة هو إنهاء الاحتلال والحصار والاستيطان وحصول الشعب الفلسطيني على حقوقه المشروعة وإقامة دولته المستقلة بحدود 67 وعاصمتها القدس الشرقية، وهو ما يضمن استدامة الأمن واستقرار المنطقة ودولها. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Yes, well, let's first remember that it requires a change in paradigm to really move things forward. We were told basically since 1967 that until we solve the Palestinian problem, Israel will not be able to make peace with its Arab neighbors. Donald Trump in his first presidency came along, Abraham Accords, changed the paradigm. We can in fact have peace with our Arab neighbors prior to solving the Palestinian solution.
Saudi, with a strongly worded statement, the kingdom says it reaffirms its unequivocal rejection of any infringement on the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people through Israeli settlement policies, land annexation or attempts to displace them.
The ministry in a unique way.
Joey, I woke up this morning. I saw many of your posts on X. You, of course, know the price of a long and unanswerable entanglement for the United States of America. You've seen it personally.
In Jordan, the proposal is viewed as a threat to national security.
What was declared by Trump is considered a violation of international laws and an aggression on the United Nations Charter. It is considered a disturbance of international security and an interference in the sovereignty of Jordan and Egypt, and this is not acceptable at all.
King Abdullah of Jordan also condemned the idea during a meeting with the Palestinian president and held phone consultations with the Emir of Qatar and Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. Riyadh is key in this developing story that has regional leaders rattled. The Saudi Foreign Ministry was first to roundly condemn Trump's remarks and say formal Saudi relations with Israel will not happen without ending the Israeli occupation and Palestinian statehood. This Saudi position will encourage Amman, Cairo, and capitals around the world to stand their ground in opposing Trump's shocking plans. Statements of condemnation alone will not defeat Donald Trump's push for annexation and displacement. Governments around the region will have to come up with a counteroffer that also fulfills Palestinian rights to statehood. Reconciling these opposing goals will determine whether the region is heading towards confrontation or cooperation.
You did hear
is saying is we will not go down this path again. And the same people who told us that we couldn't get to peace deals between Israel and Muslim neighbors until we got to a Palestinian deal 10 years ago, they were wrong. These people are wrong too. And it has always been my hope there may be some Palestinians who say, hey, this is a good deal. The president is a businessman. He's a real estate guy. He knows a great piece of land when he sees it. Maybe we can build something here.
But tonight, especially with this Gaza announcement or the floating of the Gaza proposal, how significant?
It's very significant for the president to host as his first visit Prime Minister Netanyahu, and to focus not only on Gaza and building the relationship between Israel and Saudi Arabia, but delivering this blunt, stark warning to Iran, which is now a nuclear threshold state with a pretty effective ballistic missile capability. That was about as clear a warning as you're going to hear.
That we want to make sure that Israel can exist in peace. Now, obviously,
family, that's not all. There's so much more to come. If you only knew scriptural or so-called biblical prophecy, we are truly in the end times. In the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 1, in the first year of Belteshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told them the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heavens strove upon the great sea. And four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. And I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And behold, another beast, a second like a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, arise and devour much flesh. After these I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl, and the beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Verse 7, after these I saw in the night vision, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns. And I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, and came another little horn, before whom they were 3 of the first horns plucked by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. In this lesson, family, we're going to identify these beasts. The scriptures, or the so-called Bible, always uses symbology. The scriptures, or the Bible, does not deal with fictitious so-called monsters and dragons and beasts. These beasts are symbolic of nations, and these nations, which the scriptures refer to as beast, we will identify in this lesson. And once these beasts are identified, the scales will be removed off of your heart, eyes, and ears, and you will tremble in your boots when you see just how far in prophecy we are. I have more to share with you. Pay attention.
The age of pioneers, the age of conquests, the age of commerce, the age of affluence, the age of intellect, ending with bread and circuses in the age of decadence. There are common features to every age of decadence. An undisciplined, overextended military, the conspicuous display of wealth, a massive disparity between rich and poor, a desire to live off a bloated state, and an obsession with sex. But perhaps the most notorious trait of all is the debasement of the currency. The United States and Great Britain both began on a gold or silver standard, long since abandoned. Rome was no different.
So it started on a principle that was very sound, and it was on a silver standard. But as it corrupted further and further and further, the Roman denarius got to the point where it was basically a copper coin, and they learned how to plate, and it was washed in silver, and in circulation the plating came off. And at the end, all the senators that really did at one time represent the people only were interested in representing how much wealth they could steal at the top.
Great empire wealth always dazzles, but beneath the surface, the unbridled desire for money, power, and material possessions means that duty and public service are replaced by leaders and citizens who scramble for the spoils.
Historically, all the signs of the demise of empire are beginning to develop. Some are more trenchant than others. This current financial and economic crisis, that sort of thing always accompanies the demise of empire.
The people of Rome were constantly being distracted by the gladiatorial events, and the politicians knew that they did this. Whenever there was unrest among the people, they had a huge event going on, and they created a new event with lots and lots of gladiators, and every day we're doing that. That is a common trait of declining empires. And so today in the United States, for example, you find a tremendous emphasis on all kinds of television programs that distract people from what's really going on. Sports is a big part of that, as it was in the gladiator times. In essence, we've been lulled into a lethargy, and we've accepted it.
Just as our sports stars today earn vast sums, so did Roman charioteers. In the 2nd century, one by the name of Gaius Apuleius Diocles amassed a fortune of 35 million sesterces in prize money, equivalent to several $1 billion today. Strangely, perhaps, there's another profession that is disproportionately hallowed as an empire declines. The Romans, the Ottomans, and the Spanish all made celebrities of their chefs.
And this again is typifying the end of an empire, where things were so great, we have this last oomph of momentum that we used to be great, and we felt great, and we don't feel it anymore. So everyone is out searching for it. Well, maybe it's in the best food, or the best clothes, or the best music, or the best movies, or a reality TV show, or another magazine. But you can never get enough of what you don't need. What you need is a strong moral conviction that is pervasive throughout the society, and integrity reigns.
There's a vast apathy. There's a vast amoralism, even a political nature to it. That is to say, there are vast numbers of people who don't give a damn. And so there's this natural, I suppose, entropy. Any living organism, which an empire is, of course, over time dies. Question is, how does it die? Does it die in a violent cascade of events, or does it die over a long period of time?
The baby boomer generation were born into this age of decadence. Perhaps unwittingly, they've broken the unspoken intergenerational contract. Through unfettered consumerism, spiraling house prices, and a desire for eternal youth, the baby boomers have squandered future generations' inheritance.
My generation, the generation right after my generation, I think we forgot that little phrase in the preamble to our Constitution, which says, and our posterity. All of a sudden it became us, period.
The baby boom generation, which I'm a part of, has gone and done the biggest misallocation of capital in the history of mankind. We have had cheap oil, or cheap energy is a better way to phrase it. We've had an abundance of ideas, and we have chosen a system and perpetuated it that is probably one of the worst ways to pay a price for that.
Sir John Glubb was a British soldier who fought in World War I and later in his military career served a lot of time in Jordan as a general. During his time there, he learned much about the history of the Middle East and how its various empires rose to power and later collapsed. He wrote a series of books on Arab empires and power structures, but his 1978 essay entitled The Fate of Empires is his most famous and well regarded. Using examples of patterns that he has noted through the years on power structures and his understanding of Arab and European history, he chronicled the patterns he noticed in common between all the empires of his knowledge and wrote them down in his essay. I'm not going to go over all of his book, but I will focus on the decline factors and in specific what he called the Age of Decadence. Sir John Glubb starts by mentioning that empires typically last about 250 years, made up of 10 generations that last about 25 years each. Within this time frame, he notes that there are 6 ages that an empire will experience. Number 1, the Age of Pioneers, or the Outburst. Number 2, the Age of Conquest. Number 3, the Age of Commerce. Number 4, the Age of Affluence. Number 5, the Age of Intellect. Number 6, the Age of Decadence. These are mostly self-explanatory, but do note that they aren't necessarily isolated from each other. There is overlap between the ages. He points out that the signs that an empire is living within the Age of Decadence include defensiveness, pessimism, materialism, frivolity, an influx of foreigners, the welfare state, and a weakened religion. And he believes that decadence is caused by an empire living too long within a period of wealth and power, that selfishness starts to overtake the people of the empire, there is a great love of money, and a loss of a sense of duty. The life histories of great states are amazingly similar, and are due to internal factors. Glubb's theory, even if it is just a simpler model. In the 10th century, a similar tendency was observed in the Arab Empire, the women admission to the professions hitherto monopolised by men. Many women practiced law while others obtained posts as university professors. There was an agitation for the appointment of female judges. Soon after this period, government and public order collapsed and foreign invaders overran the country. The resulting increase in confusion and violence made it unsafe for women to move unescorted in the streets, with the result that this feminist movement collapsed. In John Calhoun's experiment, as the females became more aggressive, we saw a breakdown of social order and an increase of violence. In our modern society, we see a breakdown of social cohesion, an increase of violence from certain groups, and it becomes unsafe for women, even girls, to go out onto the streets alone, as there's a rise in Muslim sex gangs. There also tends to be a belief among the people that the empire is eternal, and it's almost inconceivable the idea of the empire collapsing. The people of the great nations of the past seem normally to have imagined that their preeminence would last forever. Rome appeared to its citizens to be destined for all time the mistress of the world. The Abbasid caliphs of Baghdad declared that God had appointed them to rule mankind until the day of judgment. The belief that their nation would rule forever, an illusion which inclined them to the employment of foreign labour, to perform menial tasks, and to engage foreign mercenaries to fight their battles or to sail their ships. These poor peoples were only happy to migrate to the wealthy cities of the empire, and thereby, as we have seen, to adulterate the close-knit, homogeneous character of the conquering race. The latter unconsciously assumed that they would always be the leaders of mankind, relaxed their energies, and spent an increasing part of their time in leisure, amusement, or sport. The idea has spread widely in the West that progress will be automatic without effort, that everyone will continue to grow richer and richer, and that every year will show a rise in the standard of living. This line of thinking could be a result of the age of intellect, where people believe that science will save all of humanity from its ills. It could be said in some regards that the belief in science starts to...
In the book of Acts, chapter 7, verse 6 and 7, it reads, "And Yahuwah spake in this wise, that his descendants would dwell in a foreign land, and that they would bring them into bondage, and oppress them 400 years. And the nation to whom they will be in bondage will I judge, saith Yahuwah. And after this they shall come out and serve me in this place." Revelations chapter 13 verse 10 says, "He that leadeth in the captivity shall go into captivity." So the Father Yahuwah, in the third woe, which is the third world war, is going to put a hook in all of these powerful nations' mouths, and he's going to turn them one against one another, and they will destroy one another in the third woe, or the third world war. In the book of Ezekiel, chapter 39, read the entire chapter in your spare time, family. It is extremely powerful. Picking it up at verse 17, pay attention. Ezekiel 39, verse 17, "And thou, son of man, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, speak unto every feathered fowl and to every beast of the field, assemble yourselves, come, gather yourselves on every side to my sacrifice that I do sacrifice for you, even a great sacrifice upon the mountains of Israel, that ye may eat flesh and drink blood." Verse 18 of Ezekiel 39, "Ye shall eat the flesh of the mighty and drink the blood of the princes." What is that referring to, family? The most powerful people on planet Earth, rulers, generals of rams and lambs and goats and bullocks, of all the fatlings of Bashan. "And ye shall eat fat till ye be full, and drink blood till ye be drunken of my sacrifice, which I have sacrificed for you. Thus ye shall be filled with my table, with horses and chariots, with mighty men, and with all men of war." What is it talking about? The valley of Armageddon, the third world war, saith Yahuwah. Verse 21 of Ezekiel 39, "I will set my glory among the heathens." The heathens, according to Genesis chapter 10, verse 1 through 5, are none other than the Greco-Roman Europeans. The Caucasians are the heathens. Genesis 10, verse 1 through 5. "And after, and all the heathen shall see my judgment that I have executed, and my hand that I have laid upon them. So the house of Israel shall know that I am Yahuwah their Elohim from that day forward. And the heathens, the Europeans, shall know that the house of Israel," you see who the house of Israel on the screen are, family, "that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespassed against me. Therefore I hid my face from them and gave them into the hand of their enemies. So fell they all by the sword, according to their uncleanliness and according to their transgressions have I done unto them, and hid my face. Therefore, thus says Yahuwah, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob, and have mercy upon the whole house of Israel, and will be jealous for my Kadosh name. After they have borne their shame, all their trespasses where they have trespassed against me, when they dwelt safely in the land, and none made them afraid. When I have brought them again from the people and gathered them out of their enemies' land, look at or Google the first slave port in America, Jamestown, Virginia, Port Comfort, Jamestown, Virginia, 1619 is when the slave ship came to the Americas. 1619 to 2019 was the fulfillment of the 400-year prophecy mentioned of in the book of Acts chapter 7, verse 6 and 7, which we just read. Reading on in Ezekiel 39:27, and gathered them out of their enemies' land, and I am sanctified in them in the sight of many nations. Then shall they know that I am Yahuwah, which caused them to be led into captivity among the heathens, but I have gathered them unto their own land, and have left none of them there any more. Neither will I hide my face any more from them, for I have poured out my spirit upon the house of Israel, thus says Yahuwah. That's why what we see going on in America with the immigrants, and what's going on across the pond with these other nations, and some type of way those of us in America think that what's going on the other side of the world has nothing to do with us. You are sadly mistaken. Prophecy is quickly unfolding, and we're getting ready to identify the beast of Daniel. Pay attention. Daniel chapter 7, verse 5. And I beheld another beast, a second like to a bear. And it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in its mouth of it between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise and devour much flesh. Daniel 7, verse 5. The eagle, which symbolizes America, has the largest and most powerful military on planet Earth, bar none. There's none more powerful than the eagle. But would you believe, family, that Russia has the largest nuclear arsenal on planet Earth? Russia symbolizes the bear, and as you see on the photo, China represents the dragon. The dragon and the bear are coming unified, and they have already unified against the eagle. Prophecy is quickly unfolding. Pay attention to Russia's arsenal. Attention, family, an article published by Newsweek, June 10th, 2024. Chart shows how the world's nuclear weapons stockpile compares. Pay attention. Through the gross number of the world's nuclear weapons, though the gross number of the world's nuclear weapons is shrinking as a result of Russia and the U.S. disassembling retired warheads, the reduction is slowing, so they say. The gray represents retired, the blue represents reserve, non-deployed, the yellow represents deployed, non-strategic, the red represents deployed, strategic. Look at Russia first on the chart. 5,580 nuclear warheads. Look at America. 5,044. nuclear weapons. Look at China with a total of 500, France 290, United Kingdom 225, Pakistan 170, India 170, Israel 90, and North Korea 50. I am here to tell you, family, according to scriptural or so-called biblical prophecy, there is a nation that is not mentioned on this chart, which according to scripture is going to decimate the world. Pay attention. Let us go back up to Daniel chapter 7, verse 6. And this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard. Germany has the most powerful military tanks on the world, and the weapon systems that is associated with the German tanks are known as the Leopard's weapon system. So who is the leopard? According to Daniel 7 verse 6, it is none other than Germany. Prophecy is quickly unfolding. The four-headed leopard with the wings of a fowl, with the birth of the Holy Roman Empire, another prophetic picture began to take shape. The four-headed leopard with the wings of Daniel 7 and 6, no other country in history has been more prominently identified with the leopard than Germany. In the past century, the German Leopard tanks played major roles in World War II. In all my thousands of hours of scriptural or biblical research, I have never seen any other nation that is more accurately associated with the leopard than Germany. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wing, and I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted from the earth, and made to stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given unto it. Pay attention to the photo, family. The lion with the eagle's wings were plucked. The lion represents Great Britain, and the eagle represents America. The wings were plucked, family, in 1776, when America broke away from Great Britain. Again, the multi-million-dollar question is, where is this modern-day empire symbolized by the lion, by a lion? Here is the answer: Great Britain. Now, there have been many nations that utilize the lion as a symbol, but in modern times, the lion is the most clearly associated with Great Britain, the largest empire in modern times. In recent memory, it could be said that the sun never set on the British Empire. The British lion is universally recognized. It has appeared on the coat of arms in the United Kingdom since King James VI of Scotland ascended to the English throne in 1603. It also appears on several national emblems and flags. Another British symbol is Lady Britannia, is depicted riding the back of a lion. Family, the lion that is spoken of in Daniel chapter 7 verse 4 is none other than Great Britain, and the eagle, which is key to prophecy, is America. Pay attention.
America, the eagle, the hammer of the earth. A nation that has risen to unparalleled heights of power and influence, often seen as the world's enforcer, wielding its might like a hammer across the globe. Is this prophecy unfolding right before our eyes? Jeremiah 50:23 says, "How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations?" This ancient text seems to echo through the corridors of time, speaking to our present day. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? Could this be a foretelling of a great power's downfall?
Let us go to the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 11. Esdras and Ezra are one and the same. 2nd Esdras, chapter 11. Let's pick it up at verse 1. Then saw I a dream, and behold, there came up from the sea an eagle. The sea represents people. An eagle which had 12 feathered wings and 3 heads. And I saw, and behold, she spread her wings over all the earth, and all the winds of the air blew on her and were gathered together. And I beheld, out of her feathers there grew other feathers contrary, and they became little feathers and small. But her head were at rest. The head in the midst was greater than the other, yet rested it with the residue. Moreover, I beheld, and lo, the eagle flew with her feathers, and reigned upon the earth and over them that dwell therein. And I saw that all things under heaven were subject unto her, and no man spake against her, no, not one creature upon the earth. So this eagle family is the most powerful nation on planet Earth, also known in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 23, as the hammer of the earth. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations, as mentioned of in Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 23? How is the most powerful nation on planet Earth to be brought low? There's more. Let's continue. And it came to pass, whilst the lion spake these words unto the eagle. We've already identified the lion, Great Britain. And the lion spoke these words unto the eagle. I saw, and behold, the head that remained, and the 4 wings appeared no more, and 2 went on unto, and set themselves up to reign, and their kingdom was small, and full of uproar. And I saw, and behold, there appeared no more. And verse 3, and I saw, and behold, there appeared no more, and the whole body of the eagle was burnt, so that the earth was in great fear. Then I awake out of my trouble and trance of mind, and from great fear, and said of my spirit. This verse 3 goes hand in hand with what we read of in Revelations chapter 18, the entirety of the chapter. That's why the Most High commands us as his children to come out from among them, my people, especially the population centers. Verse 4, Lo, this hast thou done unto me, in that thou searchest out the ways of the highest. Lo, yet I am weary in my mind, and very weak in my spirit, and a little strength is there in me. For the great fear wherewith I was afflicted this night, therefore will I now beseech the highest, that he will comfort me until the end. And I said, Most High, thou bearest rule, if I have found grace before thy sight, and if I am justified with thee before many others, and if my Palau indeed be come up before thy face. Verse 8, comfort me then, and show me thy servant the interpretation and plain difference of this fearful vision, that thou mayest perfectly comfort my soul. For thou hast judged me worthy to show me the last times. We are in the end times, family. The third woe, or World War III, is upon us. 2 woes have passed, and the third is yet to come. The woe is an extreme warning, and it has to do with world wars. 2 world wars have passed, and a third and final world war is about to take place, the Valley of Armageddon. For thou hast judged me worthy, show me the interpretations of the last time. And he said unto me, this is the interpretation of the vision. The eagle whom thou sawest come from the sea is the kingdom which was seen in the vision of thy brother Daniel. But it was not expounded unto him, therefore I will declare it unto thee. Behold, the days will come that there shall rise up a kingdom upon the earth, and it shall be feared above all kingdoms that were before it. That's the hammer of the earth family, Jeremiah 50:23. In the same 12 king reign one another, wherefore the second shall begin to reign, and shall have more time than any of the 12. And this do the 12 wings signify which thou sawest. As for the voice which thou heardest speak, and thou sawest not to go out from the heads, but from the midst of the body thereof, this is the interpretation, that after that time of that kingdom there shall arise great strivings, and it shall stand in peril of failing. Nevertheless, it shall not fail or fall, but shall be restored again unto his beginning. And whereas thou saw 8 small under feathers sticking to her wings, this is the interpretation, that in him there shall arise 8 kings, whose time shall be but small, and their years swift. And 2 of them shall perish, and the middle time approaching. 4 shall be kept until their end begin to approach, but 2 shall be kept until the end. And whereas thou saw 3 heads resting, this is the interpretation. In his last days shall the Most High raise up 3 kingdoms and renew many things therein, and they shall have dominion of the earth, and those that dwell therein with much oppression above all that were before him. Therefore are they called the heads of the eagle. For these are they that shall accomplish his wickedness, and that shall finish his last end. And whereas thou sawest that great head appear no more, it signified that one of them shall die upon his bed, and yet with pain. For the 2 that remain shall be slain with the sword, for the sword of one shall devour the other, but at the last shall he fall through the sword himself. And whereas thou sawest 2 feathers under the wings passing over the head that is on the right side, it signifieth that these are they whom the highest have kept until their end. And this is the small kingdom, and full of trouble, as thou sawest. And the lion whom thou saw rising up out of the wood and roaring, and speaking to the eagle and rebuking her for her unrighteousness with all words which thou hast heard. This is the anointed which the highest kept for them from their wickedness until the end, and he shall reprove them, and shall upbraid them with cruelty. For he shall set them before him alive in judgment, and shall rebuke them and correct them. For the rest of my people he shall deliver with mercy, that those have been pressed upon my borders, and shall make them joyful until the coming day of judgment, whereof I have spoken unto thee from the beginning. This is the dream that thou sawest, and these are the interpretations. Let us go back over to the book of Jeremiah. Jeremiah, over and over, family, the Most High is commanding his people to come out from among them. My people, save yourselves from this unruly and wicked generations. The cities will be the focal point. Come out of these population centers, my people. Jeremiah 50 verse 1, the word of Yahuwah spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare ye among the nations and publish, set up a standard and publish and conceal not. This is why I am crying out, family. Babylon is taken, Baal is confounded, Marduk is broken in pieces, her idols are confounded, her images are broken in pieces. For out of the north there cometh up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein, and they shall depart, both man and beast. The Most High is commanding that we come out from among them. Have we so quickly forgot about what happened in ancient Pompeii? Pompeii legalized and did the same thing that the daughter of Babylon did in 2015. And what did the Father do to Pompeii? It was a volcanic eruption, and it happened so quick that it turns the people's brain to glass. Have we forgot about Sodom and Gomorrah? Bereshit, Genesis chapter 19, book of Jasher chapter 18, book of Jasher chapter 19, book of Jasher chapter 10. Have we so quickly forgot what the Father Yahuwah did to those nations as an example for other nations not to follow in the same pattern? Yet in 2015, what did they legalize? Then for nearly 300 years, they oppressed and mistreated his people and worked them for free for 300 years with no pay. And his people are still participating in a political system that will never bring them justice. Abba Yahuwah says in his word that if my people that are called by my name shall humble themselves and pull out and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I heal their land. So no false political system can ever correct. We must repent and return to Abba Yahuwah with our whole heart. Look at verse 6. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountain to hill. They have forgotten their resting place. Our people are steeped in religion and traditions of men. The Father Yahuwah never gave us religion. He never gave us Christianity. The so-called Bible is not a Christian book. It is laws, statutes, and commandments given to us, the children of Israel, from our Father, our Creator, Abba Yahuwah, and we were to eat and study his word and lead the world in righteousness. But as it says in verse 6, my people have been lost sheep. Let us skip down and look at verse 13. Verse 13. Listen, because the wrath of Yahuwah, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at all her plagues. This is the same thing we read in Revelations 18. Come out from among them, my people. The population centers will be the focal point. Shout against her round about. She have given her hand. Her foundations are fallen. Her walls are thrown down. For it is the vengeance of Yahuwah Take vengeance upon her, as she have done, do unto her. Cut off the sword from Babylon, and him that handleth the sickle in the time of harvest. For fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn every one to his own people, and they shall flee every one to his own land. Verse 23. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Verse 25, pay attention. This is key to the whole lesson. Pay close attention. Yahuwah, Abba Yahuwah that is, hath opened his armory and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Master Yahuwah of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. Come against her from the uttermost border, open up her storehouses, cast her as heaps, and destroy her utterly. Let nothing be left of her. Who is the weapon of his indignation and his armory? You will be shocked. And what we just read in the news, when you see this, you're going to shake in your boots. They're stirring their hand in a hornet's nest. But this prophecy shall and must come to pass. Verse 37. A sword is upon their horses and upon their chariots and upon all the mingled people that are in the midst of her. Ancient Babylon was a melting pot of many different nations trying to come together as one people. So is the daughter of Babylon. That is how she is identified. She is a multitude of many different races and nationalities coming together as one. The daughter of Babylon patterned herself after the original Babylon, which was Iraq. You see? Let's get more on this. Let's go down to verse 41 or 42. Well, let's pick it up at verse 40. As Elohim overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, saith Yahuwah, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. What did Abba Yahuwah do to Sodom and Gomorrah? We covered it. Genesis 19. What did they legalize in 2015? And in the book of Revelation, she is known as spiritual Sodom and Egypt. You see? Reading on. Behold, a people shall come from the north, and a great nation, and many kings shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. Verse 41 is Abba Yahuwah placing a hook in all of these nations' mouth and bringing them down into the valley of decision. Verse 42, they shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel and will not show mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon their horses. This is talking about military might. Whether it's tanks or what have you. Remember, this prophecy was written thousands of years ago before we had motorized vehicles. So this is talking about tanks and ships and planes and helicopters and you name it. This is talking about war. They shall ride upon the horses, everyone put in array like a man to battle against who? O daughter of Babylon. So this is not the original Babylon, but the daughter of Babylon. Jeremiah 51. Look at verse 6. Flee out of the midst of Babylon, deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of Yahuwah's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. The Most High is continually telling his people to come out of her, come out of these population centers. They will be the focal point when this takes place. Verse 7, Babylon have been a golden cup in Yahuwah's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain, if so she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, let everyone go into his own country. Over and over and over and over again, Abba Yahuwah is pleading with his people, come out of these population centers. Same thing mentioned in 2 Corinthians chapter 16. Same thing mentioned in Revelations chapter 18, verse 4. And the same thing we're reading here. Come out, come out, come out, come out. Babylon is suddenly fallen. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her. Let us go everyone to his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto the sky, and is lifted up even until the skies. And when these nations come against the daughter of Babylon, it says the islands of the sea shall fleet and melt away. So even those that are in the islands of the seas won't escape this judgment. Yahuwah hath brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare to Zion the work of Yahuwah. Let us deal with and identify who is the weapons of Abba Yahuwah's indignation. Let us go down to this same chapter and pick it up at around verse 24. Pay attention. And I will render unto Babylon and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, saith Yahuwah. Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, saith Yahuwah, which destroyeth all the earth. I will stretch out my hand upon thee and roll thee down from the rocks, and will make thee a burnt mountain. And they shall not take of thee a stone for a corner, nor a stone for the foundations, but thou shalt be desolate forever, saith Yahuwah. Set up a standard in the land, blow ye the trumpet. The trumpet is our voice, as mentioned of in the book of Isaiah. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet and show my people their sins. The trumpet is our voice, and that's what I am doing now until my people come out of her, repent, return to Yahuwah while you still have time. Set up a standard in the land, blow the trumpet among the nations, prepare the nations against her, call together her kingdoms of Ararat, Mini, and Ashkenaz, appoint a captain against her, and cause the horses to come up as rough caterpillars. Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes. Pay attention to the king of the Medes, because the Medes are the Father's weapons of indignation. That's his arsenal, the Medes, and we will quickly and soon identify who the Medes are. You can't palau or so-called pray this away. It shall happen and must happen as written of in the Father's word. Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. We're going to soon identify the Medes. Let us look at verse 33. For thus says Yahuwah of hosts, in Elohim of Israel, the daughter of Babylon is like a threshing floor. It is time to thresh her yet a little while, and in the time of her harvest shall come. But Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had devoured me, and hath crushed me, and he hath made me empty vessel, and hath swallowed me up like a dragon. He hath filled his belly with my delicacies, and he has cast me off. Look at what it says. We're going to identify who these Medes are, which is the weapons of the Father's indignation. Let's look at verse 45. My people, go ye out of the midst of her, and deliver every man his soul from the fierce anger of Yahuwah. Come out of these population centers. Therefore, behold, the days come, verse 47, that I will do judgment upon the graven images of Babylon, and her whole land shall be confounded, and all her slain shall fall in the midst of her. Then heaven and earth and all therein that is therein shall sing for Babylon, for the spoiler shall come unto her from the north, saith Yahuwah. And this is going to happen, according to Revelation chapter 18, family, in 1 hour. Now let us identify his weapons of indignation, which are the Medes. Revelation chapter 13. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amoz did see. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones, and have called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of the multitudes in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of the nations gathered together. Yahuwah of hosts mustereth the host of battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even Yahuwah, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Verse 5 make mention of Abba Yahuwah's weapons of indignation, the same thing we read in book of Jeremiah chapter 50. Who are the weapons of his indignation? Let's continue reading verse 6. Howl ye, for the day of Yahuwah is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. And they shall be afraid. Pains and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of Yahuwah cometh, both cruel and with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate. He shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven, or Shamaim, and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. What causes that? That destroying wind, nuclear power. I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. The United States of America has been at war continually for over 230 some odd years, only having 17 years of peace since their so-called Declaration of Independence in 1776. Most so-called Americans don't think about it because the wars primarily have not taken place on this land as of yet, but somewhere on planet Earth for a consistent 230 some odd years, we have been at war with some nation continually, nonstop. So that's how a man has become more precious than gold, because even though men and women are born in equal numbers, men lose their lives in war, therefore making the ratio of women to men far greater. There are millions of more women already right now as we speak than men. This truth is oozing out of the earth. Verse 13, therefore will I shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of Yahuwah of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as a chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee to his own land. How many times does Abba Yahuwah have to tell you to come out of these population centers? Every one that is found shall be thrust through, and every one, that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. So if you are left in these population centers surrounded by unbelievers, even sinners in your family, you will be destroyed along with them. The Most High is commanding his people to come out from among them. Leave these sinners behind. You cannot bring dung, which is symbolic of sin, with you and expect the Most High to cover you. You must separate yourselves from this unruly and wicked generation. Don't be like Lot's wife Adu, had so much love for her daughters that she turned around and disobeyed our direct commandment from Yahuwah, turned around and became a pillar of salt because she had compassion for the wickedness of what her daughters did by intermingling with the Canaanite men. That's Book of Jasher, chapter 18 and 19. So don't lose your own soul and salvation trying to save a people that are not willing to repent and return to Abba Yahuwah, even if they are of your own family. Come out from among them. Their children shall also be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. What do you think takes place in war? When these nations come, the focal point will be the cities, and they will not spare anyone, not even babies. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces. They shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. And Babylon, the glory of the kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees, excellently shall be as when Elohim overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. This is spiritual Sodom and Egypt, the daughter of Babylon. Come out from among them. Let us identify the Medes, who are the weapons of Yahuwah, Abba Yahuwah's indignation. In King James Study Bible, page 1323, footnote for verse 17. Verse 17 states, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall take no delight in it. So the Medes are the Father Yahuwah's weapons of indignation. They are his armory that was spoken of earlier in this chapter. Who are the Medes? The Medes located in what is today northwestern Iran. Who did the president just say? I'm trying to be careful with my words here. Let's go back and replay the video. Pay attention to who the weapons of the Father's indignation are. They have been identified. Now let's go back and replay what they said. Because I'm just trying to be careful with my words here, family, if you over and understand where I'm coming from. The weapons of Father Yahuwah's indignation is Iran.
And their proxies who have threatened to retaliate against you and your team by killing you guys for taking out Soleimani.
Well, they haven't done that, and that would be a terrible thing for them to do. Not because of me. If they did that, they would be obliterated. That would be the end. I've left instructions. If they do it, they get obliterated. There won't be anything left. And they shouldn't be able to do it. And
You say that you're unhappy to sign it if it's Iran and their proxies who have threatened to retaliate against you and your team by killing you guys for taking out Soleimani.
well, they haven't done that, and that would be a terrible thing for them to do. Not because of me. If they did that, they would be obliterated. That would be the end. I've left instructions.
لسكان غزة كما تؤكد تحميل سلطات الاحتلال مسؤولية الجرائم المرتكبة بحق الشعب الفلسطيني ومقدراته، وإننا على يقين بأن السبيل الوحيد لتحقيق الأمن والسلام والاستقرار في المنطقة هو إنهاء الاحتلال والحصار والاستيطان وحصول الشعب الفلسطيني على حقوقه المشروعة وإقامة دولته المستقلة بحدود 67 وعاصمتها القدس الشرقية، وهو ما يضمن استدامة الأمن واستقرار المنطقة ودولها. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Yes, well, let's first remember that it requires a change in paradigm to really move things forward. We were told basically since 1967 that until we solve the Palestinian problem, Israel will not be able to make peace with its Arab neighbors. Donald Trump in his first presidency came along, Abraham Accords, changed the paradigm. We can in fact have peace with our Arab neighbors prior to solving the Palestinian solution.
Saudi, with a strongly worded statement, the kingdom says it reaffirms its unequivocal rejection of any infringement on the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people through Israeli settlement policies, land annexation, or attempts to displace them.
The ministry in a unique way.
Joey, I woke up this morning. I saw many of your posts on X. You, of course, know the price of a long and unanswerable entanglement for the United States of America. You've seen it personally.
In Jordan, the proposal is viewed as a threat to national security.
What was declared by Trump is considered a violation of international laws and an aggression on the United Nations Charter. It is considered a disturbance of international security and an interference in the sovereignty of Jordan and Egypt, and this is not acceptable at all.
King Abdullah of Jordan also condemned the idea during a meeting with the Palestinian president and held phone consultations with the Emir of Qatar and Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. Riyadh is key in this developing story that has regional leaders rattled. The Saudi Foreign Ministry was first to roundly condemn Trump's remarks and say formal Saudi relations with Israel will not happen without ending the Israeli occupation and Palestinian statehood. This Saudi position will encourage Amman, Cairo, and capitals around the world to stand their ground in opposing Trump's shocking plans. Statements of condemnation alone will not defeat Donald Trump's push for annexation and displacement. Governments around the region will have to come up with a counteroffer that also fulfills Palestinian rights to statehood. Reconciling these opposing goals will determine whether the region is heading towards confrontation or cooperation.
You did hear
is saying is we will not go down this path again. And the same people who told us that we couldn't get to peace deals between Israel and Muslim neighbors until we got to a Palestinian deal 10 years ago, they were wrong. These people are wrong too. And it has always been my hope there may be some Palestinians who say, hey, this is a good deal. The president is a businessman. He's a real estate guy. He knows a great piece of land when he sees it. Maybe we can build something here.
But tonight, especially with this Gaza announcement or the floating of the Gaza proposal, how significant?
It's very significant for the president to host as his first visit Prime Minister Netanyahu, and to focus not only on Gaza and building the relationship between Israel and Saudi Arabia, but delivering this blunt, stark warning to Iran, which is now a nuclear threshold state with a pretty effective ballistic missile capability. That was about as clear a warning as you're going to hear.
That we want to make sure that Israel can exist in peace. Now, obviously,
of this administration is good for us. Because of Trump's way, he is an anomaly. There's never been no president quite like Mr. Trump. There's something that he's doing. Trump is destroying every enemy that was an enemy of our rise. Who's the enemy of our rise? Is it the Department of Justice, where we get none? Is it Congress, where you make a law that favors us and then you turn around and destroy it? Is it the media that has destroyed every black leader that stood up for us? Martin Luther King suffered it. Malcolm suffered it. He's attacking the media, calls it fake news. We have been the victims of some fake news.
Yes.
He's beating up the FBI. Go at it, baby. Yeah. They've been beating the hell out of us ever since J. Edgar Hoover and Mr. Trump. He's like a gangster.
He's a gangster.
But just a minute, if so-and-so's, I'll bomb the you-know-what out of them. Huh? Brother, man, this guy here. And you know what? He's real.
As the minister said, even I myself have the utmost respect for this administration, the law, and the authority of the land. I am simply bringing forth prophecy that was written of thousands upon thousands of years ago, but are quickly unfolding right before our very eyes. But we and anyone that's associated with me have the utmost respect for the administration, authority, and the law of the land. We are simply revealing prophecy that was written of thousands of years ago, that are unfolding right before our very eyes in these last days. 2 Esdras chapter 15 verse 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of the prophecy which I put in thy mouth, saith Yahuwah, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith Yahuwah, I will bring plagues upon the world, sword, famine, death, and destruction, for wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore, saith Yahuwah, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. And therefore, saith Yahuwah, I will avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. This is spiritual Egypt, spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah, Revelations. Chapter 11, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and will smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the lands thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundations of it shall be smitten with the plagues and punishment that Yahuwah shall bring upon it, till they that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fall through with blasting and hail, and with fearful consolation. Woe, verse 14, woe to them, to the world and them that dwell therein, for sword and destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, swords in their hands, for there shall be seditions among men, invading one another. They shall not regard their king nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to. That's why we are not even supposed to be in the cities whatsoever. This is why what we read earlier in Isaiah 13, verse 15 and 16, it says their houses shall be ravished, and their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished, in Isaiah 13, verse 15 and 16. The Most High is commanding us to come out of these population centers. The cities is going to be the focal point. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of lack of bread. And for great tribulation, what do you think happens during war and calamity? There's no grocery stores open. And if there's famine and no grocery stores open, and you are stuck in these population centers, these people around you will become monsters. Your very own neighbors, the people that are living in your community, will turn against you for lack of food and water. There will be anarchy. This is why the Creator is continually telling us to come out of these population centers. Behold, saith Yahuwah, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, from Lebanon, to turn themselves one against another, and repay the things that they have done to them, like as they do yet this day unto my chosen. The Israelites, the melanated people, are Yahuwah's chosen. They are his jewels, his jewelry. The very people that they have been mistreated, worked over 300 years for free with no pay, and still have a people fighting for equality. Abba Yahuwah is coming back with a vengeance to repay these nations for what they have done to his chosen people. So will I do also, and recompense into their bosom, thus says Yahuwah. That's why Romans chapter 12 says, vengeance is mine, says Yahuwah. We only need to repent and return unto the Father Yahuwah, and he will fight our battles for us. My right hand shall not spare the sinners, and my sword shall not cease over them that shed innocent blood upon the earth. The fire is gone forth from his wrath, and have consumed the foundations of the earth, and the sinners, like the straw that is kindled. Woe to them that sin and keep not my commandments, saith Yahuwah. I will not spare them. Go ye your way. Go your way, ye children, from the power. Defile not my sanctuary. For Yahuwah knoweth all them that sin against him, and therefore delivereth them unto death and destruction. Listen, as mentioned of in the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, they're going to be making bunkers and hiding in the cliffs of the rocks and have all of these doomsday bunkers. But the Most High say he going to go into the clefts of the rock, and there is no hiding place. So if people think that money and doomsday bunkers is going to save them, and you connect yourself to a so-called rich and sinful people, you will be destroyed along with those sinful and rich people, as mentioned of in the book of Obadiah chapter 1. Come out from among these population centers and remove yourself from these sinful and wicked people. Do not bring dung into your camp or home. Come out from among them, my people. For Yahuwah knoweth all them that sin against him. Therefore delivereth he them unto death and destruction. For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and shall remain in them. For Yahuwah shall not deliver you, because ye have sinned against him. Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east, were the nations of the dragons of Arabia. What did we see earlier in this lesson, family? The Arabs in the news, not agreeing with what this administration is saying, shall come out with many chariots, and the Arabs will link up with the Medes, which is Iran, which is the Most High weapon of indignation. And he's going to bring in the bear and the leopard as well, which we've already identified, which is Russia and Germany. And China is the dragon. It says, shall come out with many nations, and the multitude of them shall be carried away as the wind upon the earth, that all that which hear them may fear and tremble. Also the Carmenians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as a wild boar of the woods. With great power they shall come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering the nations thereof. Verse 43. And they shall go steadfast unto Babylon, and make her afraid. They shall come to her and besiege her. The star and all the wrath they shall pour out upon her. Then shall the dust and smoke go up to heaven, and they that be about her shall bewail her. In Revelations chapter 18, this is going to take place in 1 hour. It will not be televised. So those of us who hear Abba Yahuwah's voice, we are to come out from among her immediately. The population centers. And they that remain under her shall do service unto them that have put her in fear. Revelations chapter 13 verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. There will be a reverse slave trade, and it won't be the father's children this time. It will be those that originally enslaved his children, those that are left. You see? And thou, Asia, thou art partaker of the hope of Babylon, and the art of glory unto her, of her person. Woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom. The dragon, which is Asia, pattern themselves directly after the daughter of Babylon. They dress like them now. They take on their culture and everything else, even the business suits and everything else. They've patterned themselves after the daughter of Babylon, that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. Thou hast followed her in all that is hated, in all her works and inventions. Therefore saith Yahuwah, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses with destruction and death. And the glory of thy power shall be dried as a flower. The heat shall arise that is sent over thee. Thou shalt be weakened as a poor woman with stripes, as one chasteneth with the wounds, so that thy mighty and lovers shall not be able to receive thee. Would I with jealousy have so proceeded against thee, saith Yahuwah, if thou hast not always slain my chosen? The chosen are the Israelites according to the scriptures and none else. And the Israelites are the so-called melanated people that was scattered to the Americas, South, Central, and North America, and the four corners of the earth, including the islands of the seas, through the transatlantic slave trade. Those are the Father's chosen. It says, the stroke of thine hand sang over their dread when thou wast drunken. Set forth thy beauty of countenance. The reward of thy whoredom shall be in thy bosom. Therefore thou shalt receive recompense. Like thou hast done unto my chosen, saith Yahuwah, even so Yah shall do unto thee, and shall deliver thee into mischief. Thy children shall die of hunger, and thou shalt fall through the sword. Thy cities, thy cities, thy cities, do you hear, family? Thy cities shall be broken down, and all thine shall perish with the sword in the field. They that be in the mountain shall die of hunger, and eat their own flesh, and drink their own blood, for very hungry of bread and thirst in water. They had an airplane crash in the mountains, and it was freezing a few decades ago, and these people were in the mountains freezing to death, and in less than 14 days, the survivors of the plane crash became cannibalistic in less than 2 weeks. What do you think happens when the grocery stores are closed and there is no food in the pantry? Your neighbors will become monsters in those population centers. It says, thou as unhappy shalt come through the sea and receive plagues again. And this passage they shall rush on the idol city and shall destroy some portion of thy land and consume part of thy glory, and shall return to Babylon that was destroyed. And thou shalt be cast down by them as stubble, and they shall be as unto thee as fire, and shall consume thee, thy cities, thy land, the mountains, the woods, all the fruitful trees shall they burn with fire. Thy children shall they carry away captive, and look what thou hast. Thou shalt spoil it and mar the beauty of thy face. Repent, family. Come out from among her. The time is at hand. The scriptures, so-called the Bible, once you identify these nations and who's who, will begin to read like a modern day newspaper. Do not tarry. Do not procrastinate. Repent, be baptized, come out from among these population centers and get away from these sinful and wicked people, even if they are of your own family. Yahushua says in the book of Matthew that your own family sometime will be your enemies. Elder O loves you. Abba Yahuwah loves you. Repent and return unto the Creator, family. Like, share, and subscribe. And if this message has been a Barak or a Baruch to you, please support the ministry and the work. Until next time, Elder O signing off. Much love to everyone. Shalom.